What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, January 2nd, 2019. I hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to look at Bitcoin on the upside, as well as Bitcoin on the downside. Two targets, very important targets. We're also going to look at a very important momentum oscillator, the RSI, potentially forming higher highs in a continued uptrend. Let's jump right into the video, right into the charts. So before we really get into the daily and the 4-hour, I want to zoom out on the daily to give some context into the possible current momentum of Bitcoin on the RSI. So to do that, as we most often do, as of recently, especially, we compare this bear market that we had years ago and the bottom that has, been forming today. So we look at the two in synergy with each other. The bear market of 2014, 2015, very similar to what we see today. So on the RSI, back at the bottom. So this was exactly at the bottom, the first bottom for Bitcoin in that bear market right here, right in January of 2015. Now, ironically, we find ourselves in January of 2019, hopefully at the beginning of the end of another bear market. So let's look at the RSI in that time frame. So you can see the RSI bounce off of this bottom in terms of Bitcoin. And what Bitcoin did over the course of, the next couple months is on that RSI basically form some higher highs and some higher lows. So right now, if we see a lot of harmony, whether on the charts or the momentum oscillators with Bitcoin in that market and where we are now. So if we go to where we are now, we can look at the current RSI and move of Bitcoin. So here's the current RSI, and you see it. You see potential higher high in formation right now, and a potential higher low. So we have our first higher high, higher low. And so we want to see if this momentum continues. So we can even use this resistance area right around 56 on the RSI to get a picture of what Bitcoin is doing. Is it going to continue a move? And, in terms of that happening, we want to see if it's in that same confluent movement as Bitcoin on the daily chart. So interestingly enough, if you take that area, this area right around 56 on the RSI, what we'll probably see is resistance around that area on the RSI at the same time, and let me zoom in a little bit here, at the same time that we get resistance on the daily chart. Most likely right around $4,200 if Bitcoin makes a move, right? So if Bitcoin makes a move to $4,200, look at your RSI and look at the strength in terms of Bitcoin. Will we see resistance in the next move on the RSI in synergy with resistance on the charts? Right now, the daily chart, the 50 EMA, is a huge resistance area. So let's zoom in on this and see what we've been tracking for Bitcoin. So right now, Bitcoin, you can see, has been bouncing around from swing low to swing high, down to key Fibonacci retracement support that we covered. And then basically same thing, swing low to swing high, bounce most recently off of the newer Fibonacci support, and currently making its way up to basically this swing high back in December to this swing low to this resistance area on Fibonacci right there. I know the chart is getting messy, but you can see the consolidation of Bitcoin within these Fibonacci retracements, and they've proved very, very accurate for us in terms of anticipating. Now we have a very strong resistance area in this Fibonacci channel, right around $3,900 to around $4,100. And then right above that, we have this neckline on this, and I'm going to go to a cleaner chart. We have this neckline on the inverse head and shoulders that many people are keeping an eye on. So we kind of have a downward sloping neckline, and you see this very, very broadening falling wedge that could potentially be in play. So we have this very bullish looking inverse head and shoulders that could be in play, right? If we get a breakouts, and then we have a breakout area up to around $5,900 confluent with the 200 EMA on the daily chart. Now, I want to say on the downside, something to anticipate is rejection all in this area, right? Even at this Fibonacci retracement that we're looking at, rejection off of that area for a new lower high in this broadening wedge, and then a bounce down potentially, I'm throwing this out there, to $2,500, $2,700. And really what we're using for that is very often in a falling wedge, you'll have a retracement to the 1,618 for a new lower low. And that 1,618 is right down here at around $2,400. Also, the bottom end, the bottom area of this broadening falling wedge. So anticipate that. Anticipate the downside. Well, obviously, we all want to enter a bull market. We want a bull run, but that's in this environment of a continued downtrend for Bitcoin, the downside is very possible. So if you are long and you want to accumulate, find your risk tolerance at this point, because yes, we can go either way. If we break resistance, we could have a nice run, right? But on the flip side, if you are keen on accumulating some cheap Bitcoin, have some fiat available. This is not financial advice. This is my approach, but I think it's important to have some fiat available for a situation where we find ourselves in this area. Now, this broadening falling wedge could be an extremely bullish formation. I personally would be accumulating extremely heavily in that area. Anything under $3,000, that's what I'll be doing. So those are my thoughts. On the 4-hour, you can track this little mini wedge in possible formation. We have some possible resistance at the 200 EMA on the 4-hour, right, in synergy with this upper trend line breakout area. Again, $4,100 to $4,200, huge resistance area right below that neckline. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin. Let me know how you're making out. Are you prepared for the upside or downside? How are you handling your portfolio? I would love to know. Want to let you all know I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you as part of the channel. We'll see you all in the next video. Have an awesome night, and God bless.